Hello and welcome back to Not Fake News. Idaho, Indiana, Oregon, GOPs vow to keep Sharia law out of state courts by Rod Cackley. Idaho State Representative Eric Redmond's first piece of legislation introduced when he was a rookie lawmaker in March 2016 was a bill to ban recognition of foreign or Sharia law in Idaho courts. Redmond handed out photos of a severed hand with the caption that read, "According to Sharia law, left is punishable by amputation of the right hand," and text that accused the Prophet Muhammad of being a pedophile. Okay, that theft is punishable by that. And Redmond told the spokesperson review he was not worried about a punishment like being handed down in an Idaho court. However, Redmond said that he was worried that Sharia law would find its way into decisions regarding family law. Like I say, I think it's like potatoes to Idaho. It's Idaho law, and we want to protect it. Redmond said Idaho House Minority Leader John Rouche said he was disappointed the House Republican leadership allowed Redmond's 2016 effort. There is no issue right now. There is no issue. And to bring a piece of legislation and the supporting documents that showed severed hands and called the Prophet Muhammad a pedophile was just beyond pale, Rouche said. It makes us look really bad yet again, and especially to companies that have international markets, Rouche added. Redmond's legislation was modeled after a template created by the American Public Policy Alliance, the APPA, wrote on its website that the American Laws for American Courts model legislation was crafted to protect American citizens' constitutional rights against the infiltration and incursion of foreign law and foreign legal doctrines, especially Islamic Sharia law. The APPA also claimed on its website, unfortunately, increasingly foreign laws and legal doctrine, including Sharia law principles, are finding their way into U.S. court cases. The Council on Islamic American Relations issued a statement in which the CARE, that's an organization, accused of the Redmond bill of being part of a coordinated APPA campaign to demonize Islam and to marginalize American Muslims. Its passage would send a message that Islam is an officially disfavored religion in Idaho. The CARE statement said legislation passed with the intent to attack a particular religion is a violation of the Establishment Clause, which requires that government remain neutral in the matters of religion. The proposal died for lack of support, but this year Redmond is trying again. This time, Redmond told the Post-Register this proposal had been fine-tuned to prevent conflicts with international agreements, and he was no longer planning to hand out pictures of severed hands anymore. But Redmond said his motivation is the same. And I'm showing you this because of another article that I just was looking at and that I'm not going to read, but I'm going to show you. That's came out February 6th, 2017. You can read it if you want. Okay, read it if you want. But back to this. Hundreds of thousands of American men and women have fought to protect American sovereignty and freedom, Redmond said, and so he felt it was necessary to prevent an encroachment of Sharia law. Redmond is not alone. Legislation intended to keep foreign or Sharia law out of courtrooms has been introduced this year in Indiana and Oregon. Indiana Senator Travis Holdman has proposed legislation similar to the bill offered by Representative Redmond in Idaho. And, like Redmond, Holdman told the Indianapolis Star that his proposal was not intended to specifically target Sharia law. However, Holdman also said, "Constituents have raised concerns with me. They are concerned about such things as Sharia law being used as a legal standard in our courts." Holdman's bill also includes language that is meant to keep judges from interfering with religious freedoms guaranteed by the First Amendment. Chris Paulson, the director of gay rights group Freedom Indiana, is afraid that could open up a can of worms and allow religious organizations to discriminate against LGBTQ people. Only 11 days after Holman presented the legislation to Indiana, Brian Bocus introduced a similar legislation in Oregon. Like Representative Redmond in Idaho, this is Bocus's second attempt at winning approval for the legislation to prevent the use of foreign laws in our Oregon courts. However, unlike Redmond and Holman, Bocus would have trouble claiming his proposal cast a wide net. Senate Bill 479 consists of only one sentence. A court of this state may not consider Sharia law in making judicial decisions. Senator Bocus has not commented on the legislation he introduced in January. He has not commented on the legislation he introduced in January. However, it is an exact copy of what he submitted in 2015. He told the Oregonian at the time it was written and introduced to fulfill a request made by a constituent. Bocus' office makes the offer to voters in a mailer. As always, my office and I are here to serve you. It says, if you need to help dealing with an agency, have an idea for a new law, please contact me. The Arab American News accused Bocus of randomly introducing the legislation in a state that barely has any Muslims. CARE spokesman Ibram Cooper said Bocus' legislation isn't unconstitutional as anti-unicorn legislation. He also said that even if it is not passed by the Oregon legislation, the proposal sends the wrong message to American Muslims. They want to marginalize American Muslims and Islam, Hooper said. Just to introduce this kind of legislation can have an effect because it gives Islamophobes a platform. All right. And we have one more, I believe, here. Judiciary Chairman, America's asylum system being abused. Asylum system. Interesting. Nicholas Balassi. Story by Nicholas Balassi. Representative Louis Gohmert talks with Representative Bob Goulet in the House chamber on Capitol Hill on January 3rd, 2017. In Washington, House Judiciary Committee Chairman Bob Goulet said congressional Republicans plan to combat foreign abuse of the U.S. asylum system. Asylum is a very important principle that America uses to allow people to escape from torture and other types of mistreatment in our countries. However, it is abused, and if you can tell that, you know what, this is the wrong, I'm not even supposed to be doing that one. I didn't want to read that one. I'm sorry about that. Seems dull anyway. Is this one long? Judge Robot's black humor. The funniest part of Judge James Elmott's Robot's cursory 6 and a bit page restraining order against Donald Trump's executive order, which temporarily suspends the travel to the United States from 7 notorious sponsors of terrorism, comes at the end. Fundamental to the work of this court is a vigilant recognition that is but one of 3 equal branches of our federal government. The work of this court is not to create policy or judge the wisdom of any particular policy promoted by the other 2 branches. Ha! What a card! The left goes shopping for a like-minded judge and finds a Seattle District Court who is sympathetic to Black Lives Matter and does pro bono work for refugees. He has the added advantage of being located in the Ninth Circuit, the wackiest, most reliably left-wing precinct in the U.S. appeal system. Though that may change soon. Said judge then intervenes to suspend the implementation of the executive order issued by the President of the United States to help safeguard the country. The Justice Department quickly asked for an emergency stay of Judge Robot's order, but as as could have been predicted, the left-leaning Ninth Circuit judge quickly denied the request. Additionally, legal briefings in the Ninth Circuit is forthcoming, but most observers believe that the case is headed for the Supreme Court. What happens then will depend on many things. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Including the fate of Neil Gorsuch, Donald Trump's nominee to fill the seat vacated by Antonin Scalia's death last year. In the meantime, if another Orlando San Bernardino or Boston Marathon slaughter takes place, public sentiment will surely and rightly support Donald Trump's suggestion that Judge Robot is to blame. So, this is the guy who we can blame for overturning the first time. Okay, or however that worked out. Let us pause to note what just happened. Although he is but one of hundreds upon hundreds of district court judges, Judge Robert insists that the declaration and injunctive relief outlined in his order be applied immediately and on a nationwide basis. My emphasis. Seattle has spoken. Comrades, Judge Robots finds where, how, and this court has jurisdiction over just about everything. About everything. The President and the head of the Department of Homeland Security, for starters, but also the United States of America, collectively. So all across the fruited plain, federal defendants and all their respective officers, agents, servants, employees, attorneys, and persons acting in concert or participation with them are hereby enjoined and restrained from enforcing the President's executive order. This may be the best place to pause and point out that Donald Trump's acting as the President of the United States was perfectly within his right to issue an executive order to suspend travel in particular countries. So he's going against the President, who had every right to do that, what he did. As Andrew McCarthy pointed out in the National Review, the order was completely legal. Not only does it constitute vest plenary executive power in the President, the sole organ of the federal government in the field of international relations, but laws governing immigration explicitly recognize that the President has the authority to forbid specific foreigners from traveling into the United States for national security reasons. McCarthy cites Federal Immigration Law, Section 1182F. Whenever the President finds that the entry of any aliens or any class of aliens into the United States would be detrimental to the interests of the United States, he may proclaim, and for such period as he shall deem necessary, suspend the entry of all aliens of any class of aliens, immigrants and non-immigrants, or impose the entry of aliens any restrictions he may deem to be appropriate. Emphasis added. In other words, Donald Trump did exactly what the law allowed, following the determination of the Obama administration. Following the determination of the Obama administration, he judged that Yemen, Sudan, Libya, and the other 4 countries were forcing bed for jihadist activity, and therefore all travel from those countries should be suspended for a few months while his administration attempted to formulate better vetting procedures. What's wrong with that? Well, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. If you like what we're doing here at Not Fake News, please like our video and share this with your friends and family and get the word out. Let them know what's going on. You are the resistance. Share it. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time at Not Fake News.